welcome back to the Turnbuckle Chat for our weekly This Week in WWE video. Little podcast we'll bring you every week, as we have done for the last 2 weeks. So it's going good at the moment. There's a lot of stuff to get into today. We're trying to keep it so it's not an hour every time. So just a quick one from us today. So joining me as always, co-host David. How are we?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. Very exciting NXT deadline last
Yeah.
night, so it was great to catch up on that. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, we've been making plans today, preparing for the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
The other thing that, if people are interested, we'll get some footage. We are going to be attending AEW on the 17th of December for Dynamite and Collision.
Yes.
So that'll be a good show. We'll try and get some action and some footage from there, and obviously bring that onto the channel as well. More importantly, how are you hanging after yesterday? Because you were very drunk.
Yeah. I was rough this morning, but went for a nice Pizza Hut, which is definitely, I love pizza and hangover cure. Lovely.
It's got to be great, isn't it?
And then I had a pasta bake for dinner, so it's just being a day full of carbs all
Carb
day.
up, get rid of the
Yes.
alcohol, and just chill. So, but yeah, we'll get straight into it today and go to discussion. We'll start off obviously like we normally do. We'll start off with Monday Night Raw of last week. We'll start off with the Bron Breakker promo because for me that is the best promo the guy's ever cut.
It is.
So what were your thoughts on what you said?
Great promo. He's defo going after CM Punk, and obviously he set up the match for breaking CM Punk. Will we see the title change? Unsure. I don't know, but after seeing what happened on his promo and after now he's got the match, I do think he's a strong contender now to win the Rumble.
I
I,
have that kind of vibe that
yeah,
that's going to be the match that Seth Rollins is going to cost Bron Breakker.
yeah,
It'd be a bit of a weird one, but he'll cost Bron Breakker. Maybe he stomps CM Punk as well, but
yeah,
ultimately Bron Breakker wins. But obviously on Raw we expected, because WWE fans and expect everything. We expected to
yes,
find out who the masked man was from War
yeah.
Games.
On this
What were your
epic
thoughts about
Raw,
them not mentioning who that was?
it's I was a bit I was hoping that they would announce who the masked person was, but then it's also attracting fans to tune in every week. So I think to see when they announce it, and I think maybe if it's not Return of Seth, we will see him get involved on the match on the 5th of January. So do we get the reveal then? Do we leave it for a big moment to the entrance, the Rumble? We'll just wait and see. But I do think the way WWE's gone about it, I think it's just to pull the attention in the fans at the moment and actually try and just drag it out as long as possible for that perfect moment to introduce who the masked figure is.
I find it hard to figure out where's going to be the perfect moment because
Yeah.
the 5th of January is obviously not anything relevant. Okay, yes, it's 1 year of
Yeah.
NXT, not NXT, sorry, Netflix. But again, the episode's nothing special, so we get the title match. Do we get the announcement then, or do we maybe get another stomp or something that happens from him that kind of throws it in, and maybe we get the announcement of Rumble?
Yeah.
Um, I feel like they might hold this on for a long time, and I generally could
Yeah.
see a
Same.
path without getting too much into it. I generally could see a path that this could last till Mania, and we find out at Mania,
Mm.
with just this masked guy coming and stomping people, and
Yeah.
or getting involved in, I don't know, divisions matches, etc. There's a few names that have been thrown around today,
There is.
or not necessarily today, but since it happened about it. But
Yeah.
we could spend too much. I know the one thing that you were quite interested to talk about was Logan Paul catching that microphone when Bron Breakker throws it around.
It was great. It's just the way he just throws it down and anger and the microphone just jumps up, but you see the look on Logan Paul's face. It just lands in his hands. Great. It reminded me of the SummerSlam moment with Lesnar and Roman Reigns when Lesnar was standing on the Brook tractor, whatever you want
Whatever
to
you
call
want
it,
to
on
go.
top of it.
Yeah.
and just tossed it at Roman, and Roman didn't even have to move his hand out. He just opened his hand, landed in,
Just winked at
gave
him.
him the
Yeah.
little wink at the end. It reminded me of that at the moment. It was a great moment to see.
The only thing about his promo that kind of I got questioned about
Mm.
was at the end of his promo, he gives the best promo I think he's ever done in WWE,
Yeah,
hands down,
100%.
the best I've ever seen him do. Um, but then he leaves the ring, and the reaction of Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul is maybe that he wasn't meant to just leave and walk off because they all
Yeah,
looked a bit confused on what to do.
yeah,
Um, whether it's one of those where he give all his heart into that promo
yeah,
and then realised the clock had gone over, so he just took it upon himself to walk out. It was a good way to end it, but
yeah. Like
they
the
all
adrenaline
definitely
took
looked
over.
very lost after it. Like, what are we meant to
Yeah.
do? And but like Paul Heyman's looking at him like, why have you walked off? Like, where are you going?
Mm.
Kind of thing. But yeah, really good promo. Um,
Yeah.
we also had obviously Jey Uso leaving Raw.
Yeah.
A little promo there where he said maybe the bouts are better on Roman's shoulders.
Mm.
What are your thoughts? Are we getting a Jey heel turn, or are we getting
I'm
a
not. See, I was thinking,
redemption Jey?
do we see the return of like the right hand man, and he goes on Roman's side, and then all of a sudden he'll turn and have that heel turn. But it's interesting because we've never seen Jey Uso this low before. Of like over the past like 12 months of how he's been, like he's been on the top
Yeah,
WWE, winning the Rumble, of eliminating Cena, going on to beat Gunther at WrestleMania for the title. Like he was being at the highest of his peak of his career at the moment as a single competitor anyway. But now he's at his lowest, like 8 months down the line after WrestleMania. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's going to join forces back with Roman.
yeah,
See how that goes. But it's I do think that it might be building up to a heel turn at some point. Do we see him try and join force with Roman? Realize that he's actually been at the top before, doesn't need Roman, and then we see the switch, and that turns Roman
yeah.
back face, and then we have to heel Jay, and that leaves Jimmy in the air whether whose side he's going to go on. But that's another intriguing story that I think that'll probably lead up to Mania as well.
I wonder if we could also potentially get a Jey redemption arc of
Mm.
maybe he spends a week or two away.
Yeah.
Coming up to Christmas, they're all coming up to pre-recorded shows. So
Mm.
maybe he takes a couple of weeks off to spend the time with the family for the Christmas period, and then that 5th of January episode, do we maybe get Jey Uso returning without the yeet? And it's
Yeah.
let's forget all this fan favorite stuff. I want
Mm.
straight up, I want my title back. Forget the being the fan favorite kind of the yeeting and all the big entrants. Do we get just a basic Jey come back, and it is a more bit like what Gunther's done, where
Yeah.
it's he's changed his music and he's come back, but he's just been that dominant force.
Yeah.
Do we get that maybe with Jey, where he comes back and maybe he goes and smashes out the mid title card, and that situation eventually that leads to him and Roman
Mm.
in a world title where maybe he wins for the first time ever beating Roman in a
Yeah.
one on
No.
one.
Yeah.
But maybe something a little bit different because a lot of people are going to expect it to be like what we've said. The right hand man comes back.
Yeah.
I don't think Jimmy would really have much of a storyline in that.
Yeah. It'll
Whereas
be interesting. Yeah.
if he comes back without the yeet, maybe it's Jimmy's trying to get him to yeet or whatever, and he's like, "Nah, I'm done." Like no yeet, and we get the
Yeah.
switch maybe.
Mm.
Um, it's very interesting. The one thing I was disappointed about with Raw was the whole of the rumors that Triple H said it's going to be epic, and in my honest
Yeah.
opinion, it wasn't epic.
No. Well.
Um, but what was epic is the Styles clash by Dragon Lee and AJ Styles.
100%. I messaged you as soon as I seen that straight away. I was like, greatest star clash I've ever seen, and he's ever pulled off.
That is the greatest thing I think I've ever seen. They
Yeah.
jump from the top rope onto the ropes and him bouncing perfectly. And
Yeah.
what really does my head in is I've seen a lot of comments on the WWE post about it. That is hard for AJ. Has to be in the right place to catch him, and Dragon Lee has to hit him right. And so
100%.
yes, don't get me wrong. Kofi has to do a lot in that situation,
Yeah.
but Kofi does not make that move.
No.
Anyone could have been in that situation.
Yeah.
All they've got to do is flip themselves off the rope.
Yeah.
I make it sound like it's really easy and I could go do it tomorrow. I probably could.
That's true.
It does need someone with that flexibility, but
Mm.
people are saying, "Oh, the only reason that move happened was because of Kofi." Watch him go and do it with the War Raiders.
Yeah.
Then tell me that it's because of Kofi. He probably isn't going to do it with the War Raiders. He probably couldn't get them
No.
up for a Styles Clash. And I'm quite interested to see that they're now taking that into like not necessarily an open challenge for the World Tag
Yeah.
Team titles, but we'll defend every week and we'll pick opponents that are worthy of
Mm.
it, and maybe we get a good tag team division come back into Raw,
Yeah.
which could open up the next topic of being Judgment Day. Liv Morgan obviously returned at Survivor Series. The women end the show, taking out all the other tag teams.
Yeah.
Liv, Roxanne hands Liv the title, and then Liv hands it back. So
Mhm.
is it I accept you into Judgment Day? Is it
Yeah.
I remember what you did? Or could it be a Roxanne getting jealous? I know you mentioned that latter one before, so
Yeah.
where do you see that one
It's
going?
gonna be interesting to see where it goes because it could be Raquel getting a bit jealous and then sort of pulls Liv away. But I also think it's mind games from Liv, where Liv's saying, "No, like you deserve it. Like
Yeah.
you stepped in for me when I was injured." But then, sort of Liv's feeling a bit, yeah, just wait for that moment where it's the instant switch and
Or
um,
do we get maybe so obviously you look at Judgment Day since when they started, it was Edge, Damien and Rhea.
yeah,
And then it slowly Finn joined and then
yeah.
we then was it Dom that joined after? Yeah, Dom joined after. Then we got
Yeah.
JD, and it was all about the men's tag team, the men's world
Mm.
championship, men's mid card. Do we finally see that switch where we go? Maybe Finn and Dom have a falling out. Finn leaves, maybe JD leaves, and then Judgment Day becomes the three girls and Dom, and it's
Yeah.
focusing on Liv having the world title, the women having the tag team titles, Dom having the IC titles, and maybe that little switch with Judgment Day off. We're no longer about the men, we're about the women too, and you push
Yeah.
them in that way. Because that's the vibe I'm getting is Liv's coming back to take charge of Judgment Day.
Yeah. 100%.
She's
I
going to
agree.
have, they're going to incorporate it into the storyline where they've seen all the looks that Finn's been giving Dom and all the
Mm.
reactions backstage and all the little comments. They're going to have seen all this.
Yeah.
And they're going to incorporate that into the storyline. So
Yeah.
very
Yeah. I
interesting
think.
where they take that.
Yeah, we mentioned that on a previous video we spoke about. I'm not sure what one it was. Might have been the last one when we were saying I think that I think the Rumble's gonna have a big moment playing that. Maybe it's Balor eliminates Dom, and
Yeah,
then we get that big build up, and Dom's coming for a title, and then we see that big match at Mania. That's one thing I do think will happen. But yeah, as you mentioned before, it's going to be great to see like a women's like stable on top. The three of them control
yeah.
Judgment Day because as you said, it's always been like men like strong, heavy. Like they've always been like the main thing of Judgment Day. So it's great to see that switch now to women, to like the women
Yeah.
taking power and control of the Judgment Day.
And if you realistically think about it, like you had Fatal Attraction,
Mm.
which are currently on NXT. You've got a lot of tag teams. So you've got obviously Charlotte and Alexa, Rio,
Yeah,
the Kabuki Warriors, Lash and Nia, Bailey and Lyra, Natalia and Maxine, kind of like that. But
mm.
you don't really have, apart from Fatal Attraction, who's only a three,
Yeah,
and you had Mandy Rose when she was in it. She had a three. We
yeah.
don't really see many women's. Um, what's the word I want to use?
It's
Factions.
like yeah,
That
yeah.
there's not many women's factions that are
Mm.
women dominated. They're normally men dominated with a couple of women. Like you get DIY, it's Tommaso and Johnny Gargano,
Yeah,
and then they've handed Candice LeRae because it's Johnny's wife,
yeah,
and stuff like that. Where I feel like this could be now a term where we start getting maybe a few different women's factions building.
yeah.
Uh, Obviously, when you look at Bailey and Lyra, Bailey tweeted Bianca the other week, so if there's no injury or anything there, maybe we get a bit of a damage control situation because
Yeah,
we haven't had one since then.
we haven't. No.
Maybe we get a few different women's factions coming in, and maybe that opens up because that the women's tag team division looks mental at the moment.
It does.
But
It's stacked at the moment.
all they've done is took all the big superstars that they don't want to keep putting in title matches and put them in a tag team division. So
Yeah.
they're now going to dominate that, and it's kind of like it's a really good idea because
Yeah, it is.
it means we'll get new people lined up for the title. I just worry about who's going to be Stephanie's next opponent, who's going to be Jade Cargill's next opponent.
Yeah.
If all the big superstars are in,
Yeah,
title.
they're all tag teams, but I think that's more about like also that they have time on TV as well. So like it's a way to include everyone on TV. But as you mentioned, then like who we're gonna see as a single competitor fight for the title. Obviously, Liv's probably going to be the main next one, challenging for the title. But then who else do we see a tag team splitting up soon? But then think about it, what tag team splits up because not apart from what's going on Judgment Day.
Charlotte and Alexa joins the White Six.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yeah,
you get the fans' turn. We don't want Charlotte with a title because that's all we get.
yeah, that's what we've had that's what we've had
Yeah.
basically
But
shoved down our throats for
it works
ages.
different ways. Obviously, you've got, like I
Yeah.
said, the White Six and Nikki Cross there, so it could be another tag team. You've got Tiffy Stratton still to come back from an injury, and obviously
Yeah.
she's entitled to a rematch. But
Mhm.
realistically, I don't see her return until Rumble. I feel like
Yeah.
she might have a bit of time off. You could bring people up like Sol Ruka, Kendall Gray, which we'll get onto a bit later. Spoiler alert. But we'll get onto people like that later. But there's a few different NXT ones. There's obviously Tatum Paxley. There's Izzy, Soraya. There's JC Jane. Loads of those could start coming up.
Yeah.
Your favourite, Chelsea Green, Alba Fire.
Yes.
They're there in the division. You've got Maxine Dupree. Becky Lynch could go into a main title picture. AJ Lee could go into the main title picture.
Yeah.
There's plenty of women out there that could.
There's plenty. The roster at the moment there's so much talent at the moment, and I think it's just WWE at the moment just trying to get everyone sort of TV time at the moment, which is probably why we've got so many tag teams as well.
But listing all those names that I have, none of those are not in rivalries already or situations where they're already paired for matches. And the only one out of all those that's in a world title picture is Chelsea Green, who's already the United States champion, having a bit of a rivalry with Jay Cargill and just getting squashed every week. So it's not like we've got all these big superstars that can come up that aren't already in storylines that you could just pull them away and be like, you go into Raw next week or you're going into this situation because they're already in them storylines.
Yeah.
So
I think we'll see a lot of new storylines get made at the leading up to WrestleMania at the Royal Rumble, especially obviously the winner goes on to face. I think that's when we'll get the standout superstar. Maybe if it is someone in a tag team, they might say the tag team splits and someone goes and they take two separate paths.
Yeah,
which could be Charlotte, and then Bliss obviously turns evil.
This could
demon.
just go into a mid card, not necessarily have to be the White Six. It could just be.
Yeah.
She's close. She's one of the first. Apart from there's her and Bailey, I think at the moment, and obviously Charlotte, but Charlotte ain't going to go for a mid card. Let's be honest.
No.
That with Bailey could go for with Becky even go for Grand Slam champions.
Yeah.
I think they'll potentially look at something like that. But final point on Raw, and it's not going to be this week's Raw. It's going to be the 5th of January Raw I want to talk about. What were your thoughts when you saw the TikTok video that went up on Chris Jericho's TikTok today of his Titron?
Yes, I've seen that. I'm very excited for that. I do hope it's when it's going to be Raw, when it's going to be Rumble. There's clearly going to be making his way back to WWE at
I
some
read
point.
Today, if someone fact checks me, they might be right. Didn't he return in 2000 with that Titron? Big Millennium return.
Yeah,
Wasn't
the Millennium
that on the 5th of January?
I'm not sure on the date, but it was the Millennium, the Raw after, because The Rock was standing in the ring waiting. And then
Let me have a look at January 2000.
because I think it was like the month before, wasn't it? And then you had like the clock coming up each week for the countdown to the Millennium on Raw.
Okay, so the first January of 2000 would have been the 3rd.
Hmm.
So you'd be 2 days off,
Yeah,
26 years from that return.
yeah,
We could end up with Jericho returning again.
mm,
Um, he could also just have been putting it out there to mess with the fans' heads
yeah,
and get them thinking something else. But
yeah.
interesting
If
to
it-
see. A lot of people saying the 5th of January we're going to get Chris Jericho return.
yeah,
Be very interested to see that.
I do
Uh,
hope so.
but we'll come to NXT and Deadline in one. Just
Yeah,
discuss. We haven't got much on NXT to discuss. Not a lot really happened ahead of Deadline that
yeah,
Deadline would be pointless mentioning. So we'll come to SmackDown. Um,
yes,
we'll leave the big news to the end, but we'll start with another promo, which was Solo's promo on the Wyatts,
yeah.
taking it personal.
Very
Um,
personal.
to say to Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call him, that everything he made and point up to the sky on about Bray Wyatt,
Yeah,
I sat here and I went, "Oh, he's gone there. He's
yeah,
gone there." And even the missus was like, "Damn." And then he was like, "I'm going to take it all from you." And then he went, "All I've got to do is Bo leave." And I was like, jaw dropped. Missus like,
yeah. It
"What's
was.
all that about?" And I was like, "She's only just got into wrestling before anyone
Yeah,
owns her on Spotify. What's she on about?" She's only just got into WWE, so she wasn't
yeah,
around for the Bo leave situation.
mm.
So I got the video up of him being like, "I believe," and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like Solos took it personal, and I'm all for it.
100%. That's gonna be. Yeah, I wonder how. Yeah, I'm speechless thinking about it now. It was just a great promo, and as you mentioned, the point up to the sky. I just got watching it like chills watching it. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah. And then
I think,
from there, he mentioned Wyatt's name, and then from there, he mentioned the Bo Leaf at the end, and I was like, yeah,
and then obviously we got the typical, and I kind of it's predictable you knew it was going to happen when the rest of the MFT leave the ring. Solos in there, so and I went,
yeah,
"Doof, doof," lights are going to go out. Here come the
mm,
White Six. Then it was all of a sudden the screech thing come on the screen. I was like, "Oh, here comes the White Six."
yeah,
That is going to be a brawl. The only thing that makes me wonder is at the moment MFTs don't have a woman,
mm,
and the White Six do. So do we get
yeah,
another male member of the White Six, or do we
mm,
potentially get a female join the MFTs
yes,
to face Nikki Cross? Maybe we get an Alexa join,
mm,
and we get two women, and we get a tag team in that way. There's obviously Nia Jax. There's Naomi when she comes back could be in that situation.
yeah,
Um, Tamina is a member of the family. Ava
yeah,
on NXT, part of the family. There's a lot of them. Let's put it that way.
yeah, there
But
is.
as for a promo by Solo, I think again, I said it on a podcast before that Solo can talk, and he did in NXT. And
Mm,
then
he did.
he goes on SmackDown and smashes out the best promo he's done for a long time. Um, very interested to see where that bit goes.
Yeah,
Um, on to another promo. There seems to be a lot of promos with the key points
there
this
is.
week. But promo slash a brawl with the Cody and Drew situation. Obviously, Drew turns up at the
Yeah,
arena, not welcome again, um,
still
to basically be
suspended.
told by Nick Aldis to leave. To which then
Mm,
I found it very funny that Cody Rhodes then just appears in his passenger seat,
yeah,
and I was like, that's quite a funny way of doing it. But then he goes out and throws the promo that you take from that promo an unsanctioned match coming. I
yeah.
want to know what your thoughts on it, if that was to
I
be
do.
announced and where that's going to happen.
I do. I think obviously they've had the match before, and I just think from it, Cody mentioned in the promo that if there's one person to like break or push into the point, Drew has. So it's disappointing that we do get to see another side of Cody because Cody started that brawl off in the car and then went out and cut and shot a really good promo in the ring. So I think that Nick Aldis is going to say, obviously, we've had a match, referee can't contain him. It's just going to be, even if it is a normal match, it's going to be a massive brawl anyway. So do we get to see an unsanctioned match? Maybe at Hell in a Cell on the, do we get to see that? It'd be interesting, but I think what makes sense at the moment is for both of them going at each other. It's really heated promos. I do think an unsanctioned match might be on the cards very soon.
I do wonder though where that's going to happen because you can't drag that out another six
Yeah.
weeks to Royal Rumble.
Mm.
Obviously, it's not going to happen at Saturday Night Main Event because Cody's
No.
already in a match, which we'll come to later.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder: do we maybe get it? The Raw being on the 5th, it's a SmackDown the 9th. That again will be a
Yeah.
year then that SmackDown over in the UK has been with Netflix since the first SmackDown would have appeared on Netflix, should we say?
Mm-hmm.
And they also had did it the same week that Raw went to Netflix, SmackDown went to their new station.
I think I'm not too sure. I'll have to check on that one. But
Maybe we could have it that's
yeah.
come up to a year and that's a situation and that could be where that match happens.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we get a Saturday Night Main Event
Yeah.
like promo, PLE, sorry. Or we get like a day one PLE, which we've had
Yeah.
before. Which, just thinking about it now, actually, if we were to have a day one PLE, that would be the 3rd of January.
Mm.
26 years to the day Chris Jericho returned.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure NXT have got a pay-per-view on that day, which they're building up to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, one of those. But, yeah, again, another good promo by Drew and Cody there, and that rivalry's going. I am kind of getting bored of the rivalry, though.
Mm-hmm.
I know, obviously, the tradition is always 3 matches per rivalry, and then
Yeah.
that's the end. But I just can't stand Drew. Does my head in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see something different, but we'll go on to the United States champion, Ilya Dragunov.
Yes.
Very, very good match against Carmelo Hayes.
It was
Me and
very
you
good.
both in the same boat of thinking that Carmelo was going to win, only
Yeah.
to find that Tommaso Ciampa gets involved, costs Carmelo the title, which Ilya Dragunov then sees the replay and is
Yeah.
furious, which I like to see it. He wants to be a fighting champion, fighting honestly.
Yeah.
That's not
He
fair.
wants that rematch. I think it'll
Yeah.
be lead up to a rematch as well.
But then, obviously, the promo backstage with Nick Aldis, where Fraxium want to get hold of DIY,
Mm-hmm.
and Ilya Dragunov comes in and demands a title match with Tommaso Ciampa, which will happen next week. Do we see some shenanigans happening in that maybe that gives Tommaso the title?
Yes. We could well do, maybe so. But as you mentioned then, I really did think Carmelo Hayes was going to win the title until
Yeah.
the point where he's at the top rope and Tommaso comes in. Are we going to see a triple threat? Is this the push that Carmelo Hayes needs? Because he was in that match. He was really. It looked like he was put over really good.
Yeah.
He sold moves great. Great match from both superstars. Obviously, my opinion, it's a shame that he didn't pick up the title because it would have been a shock happening on the show. But do we see maybe a triple threat match down the lines? Do we see Hayes come into the match next week with Ciampa?
This is what I'm thinking because, like the whole situation with Cody and Drew, that's a PLE match. Ilya
yeah,
Dragunov,
that's
Carmelo
another
Hayes,
one.
Tommaso Ciampa. That is either a big show or a PLE match.
Yeah,
But like we've said, there is no now PLEs or
no,
big
there's not.
matches from now until Royal Rumble. We've
No,
also got the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, obviously being the festive period of being Christmas, is all going to be pre-recorded from, I think, next week's live. I think the week after it's pre-recorded them for 2 weeks. So that
yeah,
takes us right into January of pre-recorded stuff. So you're not going to put a PLE in there because they aren't going to
no,
live and they're not going to pre-record that. So it's sitting there going, that 5th of January Raw is either going to be mega action-packed with some SmackDown matches in, or that week's SmackDown as well, because it'll be a year of WWE being with Netflix. That is
yeah.
going to be
They
a
might.
mega SmackDown as well.
Yeah,
And I think that, like we've mentioned two already, Cody, Drew in a Hell in a Cell, Ilya, Tommaso, Carmelo Hayes, that in a triple threat match.
Yeah.
Obviously, that'll be a no DQ match because that's what triple threats are. So that's going to be an interesting match. I
It
think those
will.
kind of matches are what are going to keep fans interested in the programming.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that's what WWE, what you mentioned then. Obviously, it's the year of Netflix
yeah,
in that week, so maybe WWE just want to start off the new year strong and give us big matches as you mentioned then. All the matches that we're sort of building up to it, they all should be on a PLE.
yeah. It does make
Um,
me wonder if they should start bringing back. Do you remember when they went through the era of having Raw have a pay per view and SmackDown have a pay per view?
yeah,
Rather than mixing them, you had Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, your big four,
yeah,
they were all mixed.
hmm
And then you'd have in February a Raw and a SmackDown PLE, beginning and end of the month. Obviously, after Mania, you'd have every month then two PLEs a month, a Raw one,
hmm
a SmackDown one. Makes me wonder if they bring that kind of back.
yeah.
And maybe we start getting a few more PLEs because we're getting these matches. Like there was a match the other day on Raw. I can't think what match it was. I don't think it was like the other day. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I watched it, and it was a great match. I want to say it was Carmelo Hayes in the match. Did he face Gunther on Raw?
Yes, was that one of the um
John Cena matches.
last? Yeah, one of those
Yeah,
matches. I think it
that
was
was on
one.
the Raw the week before, wasn't it?
I think so. It was. I
Now that would have
think.
been a good match to have had on a PLE.
Yeah, it will have.
They have good matches with each other. Ilya
Yeah,
Dragunov had a few good matches. We all know the Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series elimination tag match. That should have been on the PLE. There's no
yeah,
question about it. Extended the PLE by an hour.
hmm
Um, but obviously, discussing the John Cena's My Time Is Now tournament, we
yes,
have found out on SmackDown that Gunther beat LA Knight, as you can see by the name of the podcast. Gunther has beat LA Knight and will be John Cena's final opponent.
you will.
As a John Cena enthusiastic fan as yourself, what are
Yeah,
your thoughts on A, it being Gunther, and B, Gunther saying in his promo after that his plan is to make John Cena give up and tap out?
yeah. I think I mentioned in the previous podcast, it's the way Gunther's character is. Maybe we are going to see like because he was the last match in Goldberg's career. He's going to be the last match
Yeah,
in Cena's career. So not sort of the Legends killer. Are we going to see him sort of the career
legend
killer?
retirer.
Let's retire. Yeah, we could see that. But as I think I mentioned to you earlier on, um, with his old music hit, and after the match, it just gave him. It just for me, it gave him something else. It was like he was more dominant, standing in the ring and
Yeah.
looking at the talking in the mic. So going on to when he said he'll make John Cena tap, I think that's gonna be his goal going into Saturday night main event. I think it'll be un, unfortunate for Cena if he does, because with it being his last match, I think if fact check, I'm not sure. Is Cena ever tapped out in any match? I'm not too sure. So and obviously we know Cena's never give up, and the amount of I quit matches he's never done it. So it will be a surprise if he was to tap out in that match. But then it's also a great push for Gunther not to be the last match of John Cena, but to actually turn around and say that he made the person who never quits, never gives up, to actually tap out.
So an interesting fact about John Cena.
Yeah,
John Cena has only ever tapped out 4 times in his career.
4 times.
The first ever tap out was in
Mm,
2002 to Chris
yeah.
Jericho.
hmm
He then tapped out in 2003 to Chris Benoit,
Yeah.
2003 to Kurt Angle, and
hmm
2005 to Kurt Angle. So John
Yeah.
Cena has not tapped out in 20 years.
Yeah. So since he's been this, and I say it like Super Cena, should we call it? He's never tapped out. So and he's for the past 20 years, he's always been this big, never give up,
Yeah.
never quit attitude. We've seen him in the previous I Quit matches, and all the big moments he's had. So do we see him finally tap out once more in his career? But with it being his last one, I feel like it might be a punch in the face to Cena.
Yeah,
But then
totally.
we know the type of guy Cena is. He wants to put talent over. He wants the show on Saturday Night Main Event is all about up and coming talent. Like I think he was in an interview once Saturday night show, whatever it is,
Yeah,
and
Saturday Night Live.
yeah, Saturday Night Live, and he mentioned about he wants to start the show off and then give the rest of the show off to the rest of the talent on the roster. So with it being Cena in this situation, I wouldn't be surprised if Cena does tap out but I
Yeah,
do think if Cena was to tap out, I think that'll be him making the decision off his own back to say Gunther
yeah,
is the one, he deserves it, and I think that will give Gunther another big push that I think he needs with his new music coming back because after he
yeah.
lost the belt to Jay, that wasn't really a top rivalry. He lost the belt to someone smaller, with it being Jey
CM
Uso.
Punk.
Obviously, yeah. Um, so it was just to see what are we gonna what way is it gonna go? Is Cena gonna tap out? Will Cena get the last win?
Yeah.
We will see.
A couple of things that you said that have brought questions into my head because
Mhm.
the one thing he said on that Saturday Night Live segment was, "I came into an industry from nothing and was given the
Yeah,
opportunity to build it up. I want to do the same thing."
yeah,
Now, for me, if that is the case, Gunter is the worst person for you to pick.
yeah,
Why have you picked a two-time world heavyweight champion, the longest
hmm
reigning IC champion, to come into a main event to face you when you want to give it to someone who's got nothing and just started up and project their career? The guy's already
yeah,
been at the top. Clearly, obviously, wasn't good enough because they didn't keep him there for too long
yeah,
and they took it away from him. So, yes, okay,
yeah,
yes, he's back as dominant, but that was the first point of you said you want to do it the way you did it, but you're doing
yeah,
it completely different. So, question me about that one. The tapping out situation, I feel like it's a necessity, but maybe we get the situation because Gunther, like we said, I've already had this career.
mhm,
Maybe we get it where John Cena taps out Gunther
yeah,
to end his career and be like,
hmm
obviously, if people haven't seen it already, Adam Pearce has just put a video out to say that Gunther will be appearing tomorrow night on Raw
hmm
or tonight, depending on when this podcast goes out. On Monday night, he'll be appearing on Raw
yeah,
to issue a statement regarding the John Cena match ahead of Saturday's match, Saturday's fight. So it makes me wonder: does maybe we get John Cena tap out Gunther um,
yeah,
to end his career that way? And
hmm
then the third point I got is: don't know if you've seen the photo I put into the group chat earlier, but there's a photo where it says John Cena and Gunther are in the ring. John Cena obviously gives him his flowers, gives him his
yeah,
praise to the crowd. Gunther respectfully leaves the ring to let John Cena have his final moment, and
yeah,
then we hear the Rock's music hit. He
yeah,
comes out. Everyone thinks, "Oh, okay, this is just going to be a thank you
yeah.
Cena situation." To which he
Shake of
says,
the hands.
"Yeah," but to where the Rock says, "I still owe your soul. You are not retiring." And
Yeah,
then we get the big pop because it means John Cena's not going. Seen quite a few
yeah,
mixed reactions on that today of people saying, "Well, that's just an absolute piss take if they do it that way because
yeah.
they've advertised obviously it being the end of his career." Uh,
hmm
but ultimately, obviously, that would line up to one last WrestleMania match where,
Yeah, I think that would also line up because Cena was having an interview. I'm not sure who it was with. I seen on social media where he said about obviously the heel turn, which and then he mentioned about like people sort of taking a step away, so they had to change it. So was this all planned from the start? Was this that The Rock
yeah,
was going to do it? The Rock disappeared, and then long term storytelling, as we know, The Rock and Triple H going about. Do we get the Rock music and it goes? Then that way it all makes the heel turn sort of. Well, we have
it
our opinion
makes
on it.
sense.
It's not the great, but it sort of makes sense in a way. And
Yeah,
then we get the Rock, and we get the Rock Cena one last time because then that'll be the third match as well of
and
them.
Cena could then go. But the only thing with doing something like that would make me question it that it's not going to
Mm,
happen is why would you throw a whole tournament to be seen as last opponent because
Yeah.
Gunther's now got into his mindset of on TV I'm seen as like I'm going to retire Cena, but in personal life he's probably sat there going, oh my god, I'm getting the opportunity to be John Cena's fine leather opponent.
Yeah.
Well, I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah.
Imagine being that wrestler that's going to have John Cena's final match,
Yeah.
only for creation to come in and go, so right after the match, The Rock's going to return. It turns out you're not going to be John Cena's final opponent.
Mm.
I'd be fuming if someone
Yeah.
came in and said that to me.
I think the only way that could possibly make sense is if Gunther does win and does make Cena tap, so that way he walks out of the match knowing that he's not going to be Cena's last opponent, but he's the first superstar in the past 20 years to make Cena tap, so he's still got
He could
something
be
to
the last
come
superstar
out.
to beat Cena.
Yeah, and that as well. Mm.
So Cena could go to Royal Rumble
Yeah,
and win a match there. Maybe we get a situation where Cena wins a Rumble, and rather than challenge a champion, he challenges The Rock
yeah,
for his Rock Championship that he always carries around. That's pointless him having.
yeah. And then it does link up, as what you've said, just victim head. Cena does ruin wrestling and walk away with the championship.
Yeah,
But it's going to be the Rock Championship, which he hasn't ruined wrestling
he's
because
going to
that is a
ruin wrestling
pointless title.
not for the fans, but for The Rock.
Yeah, the owner,
Yeah,
co-owner of
the guy that's tried to ruin my career by making me turn heel. I'm going to ruin his wrestling
yeah,
career. But we've gone about John Cena for ages.
yeah. We can.
That's the video coming out on Wednesday. We'll discuss John Cena more there.
Yes.
Deadline and NXT. Starting off
Yes.
NXT with a bit of a spoiler. I mentioned it to you a minute ago. There's a bit online at the moment that the hype is. There was a video package promoted of Obafemi, Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints, whatever he's called, and Ava stood in the office talking.
Yeah.
And behind Ava, it pans. And for about a second and a half, on the screen behind her was a bridge.
Yeah.
Now, I would have seen that and thought nothing of it. Maybe just thought production put the wrong image on.
I did think that, to be fair.
Yeah. Turns out, a certain Don, who returned at Deadline last night, Tony D'Angelo, actually has a bridge in his Titron, which obviously was linking the two together. Social media took off of that. But what are your thoughts on the Don being back in WWE NXT?
It's great. It was great to see him back, especially after a title win as well.
Yeah.
I think it sort of takes Obafemi out of get my words mixed up. Yeah, so obviously he's back on top, but then with Tony coming back, it's a new feud building up as well.
Yeah. So obviously Obafemi regained his NXT Championship yesterday against Ricky Saints. He looked absolutely wham in his entrance, and I seen a post that said this entrance would hit hard at WrestleMania, and I totally agree. That light show and then him just stood at the top looking hench, that would smash at WrestleMania. But again, he beat Tony Stark in a very good match. And then obviously we had the Don return after the men's Iron Survival match, which was ultimately won by Javon Evans.
Yes.
Which is really annoying because Matt got it right last week on the podcast, his prediction. And I hadn't watched it this morning. I didn't watch it live. I watched it later on. And all I got from Matt at like 9 o'clock this morning was, I predicted the men's Iron Survival correct. And I was like, well, thanks for ruining who's just won that. I knew that. Thanks, Matt, if you're listening. Appreciate it, bud. But yeah, so Javon Evans wins the men's Iron Survivor match to end Deadline.
Yes.
And then we get D'Angelo return. So it kind of sets up, is D'Angelo targeting Obafemi? Is he targeting Javon? I think Javon's got a good option now. He's now got obviously an NXT Championship match against Obafemi. That'll be at the pay-per-view in January. I don't know if you've got the name of that one, but it will be the pay-per-view in January.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. NXT.
Yeah, because I did think I think we were discussing it before about about the Saturday Night Main Event. Is he going to have would he have the title match on there? But obviously with one of the competitors already facing Cody.
So
is it the start of Jan?
New Year's Eve or January 7th. So that first weekend is New Year's Eve, NXT New Year's Eve. So that'll be where Javon Evans and Obafemi will face 1-on-1. Maybe Tony D'Angelo comes back and still targets Obafemi.
Yeah.
Maybe Obafemi wins that match, and then we get the Don and Obafemi maybe at Rumble. Or that weekend. That'll be one.
But I think that'll be a great match to see as well. Again,
there was a match between Izzy. I never know her last name. Izzy and Tatum Paxley, which ultimately ended with Tatum Paxley losing. She's been having this creepy situation recently with a doll. And they decapitated the doll, and now she looks lost. I generally think Tatum Paxley would have been a perfect person to put in the White Six.
Yeah, perhaps this is what it's leading up to.
Yeah, because Nikki Cross, you had Nikki Cross come through NXT. Eric Rowan obviously really didn't. He come through the White. Yeah, no, the Whites come through NXT.
Yeah.
Uncle Howdy come through NXT as Bo Dallas. Joe Gacy, Dex Loomis, they've all come through NXT.
Could we see another
Bray Wyatt, more importantly, come through NXT, where Alexa makes sense because of Alexa and Bray's history.
Yeah,
but Tatum Paxley's character suits it better. So
yes, it does.
But she looks really lost at the moment, so it's interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, perhaps we get Nikki Cross show up in an NXT episode, maybe, and it's a big. So that'll be a shock for NXT.
Yeah. I think the other thing to look at as well is Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria are best friends. Used to be a tag team together, and then Tatum obviously turned on her. So when they had the situation of the week, Izzy turned on Tatum. Lyra then came to Tatum backstage and was talking to her. So maybe we get a Lyra going back to NXT and becoming Tatum's tag partner and teaming up with there, or bringing her into the main tag team title in the main division. But be interesting to see. NXT's getting very interesting at the moment.
It is, and I
personally would probably say one of the best brands out of three.
At the moment, yeah, it's going strong to be fair. At the moment,
and I think it's and they're building it all well. They're building up the tension stuff, like the stuff they've got going on with Ethan Page as well at the moment. It's really good, good stuff.
I think it is building up to, and they are going into basically building big stars going into 2026.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a big year for going into 2026.
The final person that we're talking about building stars, Kendall Gray, who's currently the Women's Evolve champion, winning the Women's Iron Survival. So again, NXT's pay-per-view in January. She will go one-on-one with JC Jane for the title. I think that Kendall Gray wins that and becomes two-bout Kendall, because WWE tweeted it earlier. That gives JC Jane the push that at Rumble she'll appear. After Rumble she'll be on Raw.
Yeah.
And
maybe it could be a shock. Do we maybe see a win the Rumble?
Yeah.
And get that big push? Because we were talking before about there's not many. Obviously, a lot of superstars, women's superstars, and women's are all in tag teams. So, do we get a NXT superstar and make a big shock and win the Women's Rumble and go on to face?
Someone did say last week on the podcast that an NXT woman, I don't know if it was you, said that an NXT woman, someone from NXT could win the Rumble.
I think I went with Nikki Bella last week when I said it.
I don't know if it was like you said that was your pick, but I know you said we could potentially end up with it. So it might have been you or Matt. It might have been Matt with Sol Ruka because he's obsessed with that.
It could be Matt getting a prediction right again.
Yeah. Talking about Sol Ruka though, did you see that finisher outside the ring? Oh my god, that was incredible.
It was.
So. But no, Deadline again was another good pay-per-view that NXT.
A very strong pay-per-view, but as you said, I think they are good. The leading brand going into 2026 at the moment.
There's a lot of storylines at the moment from other brands that could build, but I think they're doing really well building. So we'll quickly just cover over Saturday Night Main Event at the moment. We've currently got Cena versus Gunther, the final match of the GOAT. We've also got Bayley versus Sol Ruka, which to me was a bit of a random match. Why you wouldn't have Sol Ruka face a champion? Didn't really make sense. And we've also got Obafemi will go one-on-one with Cody Rhodes, which I think is a great match again because Drew's going to cost Cody that.
Yeah.
But that's also going to give Obafemi a good push because he's going to have a good
100%. Yeah.
So So Saturday night main event is going to be interesting. Talking of
It
Saturday night main
is.
event, we will be live streaming Saturday night main event next Saturday.
We will.
Um, as I've said it before, I'll say it again. We will get to see David cry as John Cena finishes his final match. It's going to happen.
I'm not going to be embarrassed. I think I can speak for any men, women, child at any age. There is going to be tears across the globe,
Yeah,
and I will be one of them. Sat in Liverpool,
yeah.
100%.
I absolutely love the fact that's why you texted me earlier, and she's not going to be on stream, but I'm going to say hello to Mama Fowler because she's going to be
Yeah,
there. So
my mum
hello,
is.
Mama Fowler.
I would put it to my mum as the. My mum's being a big wrestling fan. She used to watch it with my granddad growing up. Got my elder brother into it. She was the one who pulled me into it and got me watching it at the time. At the time, Cena was on his big rise, and since then, it was. I think Cena's always been a massive part of man and my mum's like wrestling bond growing up. I've mentioned in the previous video, it's summed up when we went to WrestleMania 34, first ever WrestleMania, bought the tickets way in advance, didn't know what the match was going to be. Mum's favourite wrestler was Taker, my favourite wrestler is John Cena, and it just so happens that was the perfect feud building up for us. That was the perfect
Yeah,
moment. And again, if I ever think back to any moments watching it with mum, I remember it was 2008, Madison Square Garden, Royal Rumble. I remember I recorded it on a tape. We ordered it on Sky and we put it on a tape and recorded it, and then we getting picked up from school, ran
yeah,
home, and I just remember sitting there, and it must have been getting to about 9 o'clock at night, and we were sitting there, and we were like, "Oh, it's getting to number 30," and that hit, and the screams from me and my mum was,
yeah.
yeah. So I think it, for my
Greatest
mum,
moment ever.
as soon as I seen that was it wasn't even me, it was my mum actually messaging me saying, as soon as we seen us last match, she was like, "We'll get together to watch that. We're gonna have
Yeah,
a few glasses of stuff to have a drink with. It's going to be a great night, and I'm really looking forward to it."